obviously played a great game against them all game long, but specifically with Luka, what'd you guys do differently in the second half to limit his effectiveness?
You know, we didn't change, Darnell. I thought, you know, when he's going left, he likes to step back, but I didn't think that we closed down airspace well enough, especially to close the half out when he made those threes. So we actually showed our guys some clips of that at halftime, and I thought Garrett, Zach, and Patrick, when they were on him, when he was going left, they just stayed in his hip. And I thought earlier in the game, when he was going left, we were trying to beat him to the spot, and that's when he was creating airspace. So we just tried to close down his space, and even the step backs he took, I thought they were highly contested. The ones that he made there in that first half, I think we gapped him a little bit too much, and there was too much distance between us and him. And I think when you give him that much room and that much space up there, it becomes a lot easier for him to generate those shots. So I just thought we did what we wanted to do early in the game a little bit better in that second half.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Casey Johnson, go ahead.
Billy, you changed your rotation a little bit tonight, and obviously when you don't see 61 bench points a lot, so you had to be pleased with how it worked. What was the reasoning behind the rotation tweak tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't even about, going into the game. There's just different points and juncture in the game where, we need to get settled down. Like, I think some of it was, even the last game against Oklahoma City, where we ended up having some moments there where we had that third quarter where, we kind of righted the ship, but it took too long to do it. And, wanted to give some other guys, Gaff didn't play last game and neither did Arch, and just wanted to give them a chance, in terms of, their competitiveness and their fight, and try to help the group as much as possible. And, I didn't know how it would look. We ended up going with it. And I thought in the first half that 5-man guys of Arch and OP and, and Thad and Garrett. Lowry came back in a little bit with that group, but the bench did a great job tonight. And I thought the bench did a really good job, just playing with really good poise.
And if I could follow up on Lowry, it looked like he made a pretty concerted effort to start attacking the rim, particularly after missing a couple of threes early. Did you see that? And where do you think his game is at right now?
Yeah, I'm sure he's got to find his rhythm a little bit. The one thing, Casey, I thought he did a really good job at, and I mentioned this to him in the first half, they were flying at him so hard in the first half. And, some of the shots looked like they started open, but, they got to him in terms of contesting. And I just mentioned to him, I'm like, listen, with the way they're flying at you, there's going to be drives open all over the place. And, I give him, a lot of credit. Anytime he had space and they flew at him, he put the ball on the floor. And to your point, made some good passes, got some guys some shots, and then obviously, scored going to the basket.
Thanks, Billy.
You're welcome.
Rob Schaefer, go ahead.
Hey, Billy. I also wanted to ask about the bench effort. It kind of seemed like there were times, especially in the fourth quarter, when Dallas started to chip away, and then you get, a Garrett basket, a Thad basket. I think Otto had 6 or 8 points in the fourth quarter. Did you think that they did a good job of kind of stopping the bleeding and steadying the ship when it looked like the game might swing, as a couple games have?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. That's what was, I think, good for us in that situation. We were, in a similar situation. And here's the thing, Dallas is going to make a run. Like, they got it down a little bit. I think in the third quarter, maybe it was 14 at the half, and they got it down to maybe 9 or 10. But you know what? We responded and got it back up. It's not going to be perfect, and there's going to be swings in the game. But we just can't have like these big swings where it's like a 5 or a 6 minute period where it's a swing. I thought a couple things. I thought we got to the free throw line. I think we did a good job of defending without fouling. I thought we rebounded fairly well. We had some in the second half that were, we could do a better job. And we didn't fail. I mean, we had 14 turnovers, probably at 13 because we took a turnover at the end of the game. But, we're going to have to understand the things that go into winning. And it's a lot. It's not like, hey, just do one thing. And to your point, that's part of winning. It's not going well. Can 5 guys get on the same page and right the ship and communicate and really understand what needs to happen on both ends of the floor? And I felt like our guys took a step in the right direction. And I think it says a lot about our guys. This is a great group of guys, and they're competitive. And I think after losing the way we did in Oklahoma, and to be able to come back and respond the way they did today, I mean, that was really encouraging to see.
Thanks.
Jamal, go ahead.
Hey, Billy, just Garrett Temple. What has sort of stood out to you about what you have gotten from him these so far this season. I don't know kind of what maybe your expectations were when you guys signed him, but just has that, has he kind of surpassed that, I think, in these first 10 or 12 games or whatever?
Well, I've always had great respect for Garrett, even going back to his time at LSU when I was at Florida coaching against him. And then obviously seeing, his career in the NBA, the first thing that stands out is a very, very classy professional guy that comes ready and will do anything that is asked of him for the benefit of the team. I think that's the things that stand out. A guy that I think is got a lot of experience in terms of giving his wisdom to a lot of younger players, investing time in the younger players, trying to talk to the younger players. I think those things have been really, really impressive. And he has an idea of like the things that you have to do to win. And, we get at times with some of our younger players and they've got to learn, we can get a little bit careless and we can lose sight of things. And it's almost like there is a, we don't realize sometimes the things that change momentum of games, and a couple of times I was calling timeouts early where, I was like, listen, guys, like this is the stuff that changed momentum in the game. Like we can't do this now. We got away with it, but like this could change momentum. I think Garrett is really good in terms of him and Thad and OP, in terms of those guys really talking to the guys. Like their messaging on the bench is phenomenal, and they've really have all of them have done a great job with the younger guys.
Thanks.
Joe Kelly.
Really, how nice is it for Zach to have the point reiterated to him that on nights that the scoring isn't there, 10 assists, 3 steals, a willing defender, getting to the free throw line. There's things he can do to impact winning that might not be flashy. It might not scream all-star, but screams, a W.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point, Joe. And I mean, I didn't talk to him about that. I think one of the things that I felt like could happen is he had maybe such an explosive first quarter. The first time we played against Dallas, I think he had 21 points. They started to trap him a little bit more. I thought maybe they would start the game that way, but I really thought like he made great decisions and he played, in my opinion, like a tremendous floor game. He was balanced. To your point, he had assists, rebounding. He didn't really force anything. He, really played the right way. He got downhill. He found his teammates. So there was a lot of things I thought we did today where I saw some growth from the last game, and obviously for these guys to pick themselves up and get ready to play a 2:00 game after losing the way we did the other night, I think is really, really great to see. But to your point there, I think if Zach can keep evolving like that's only going to help our team and make us better. And, tonight, Thad mentioned it to the guys after the game. He said, Kobe and Zach, you guys didn't score, but you played the game the right way that really enhanced and helped us win. Because listen, those guys are players that require a lot of attention. So it opens up things for other people. And when they can play like that, that's just going to help us. You're welcome.
Smith, go ahead. Sam?
Thanks. Just to follow up, Billy, how did you decide? You obviously had to make a conscious decision, little ball. Zach got the ball quite a bit more in a facilitating position. And also, when Williams got in foul trouble, you put Zach on Doncic quite a bit. What was your conscious decisions about doing that?
Well, Patrick got into a little bit of foul trouble there. Garrett had been out there with the second unit. We had Garrett on him some, but, I think Zach really wanted to take on the challenge for one. I think that, was something that he knew, he knows, I think Zach really wants to be a two-way player. I think he knows he has to become that player and he's got to play both sides of the ball, and in fairness to him, I really have played him way too many minutes. And I know some of this COVID stuff has created some of that, but when you're playing on a consistent basis, 39, 41, 42 minutes, it's really hard to sustain a high level of defensive intensity. I thought he did that today. His minutes were more manageable, I think, for him. And then I think the ball in his hands, we kind of went to something coming out of a timeout and we scored on it. And we just kind of stayed with it at the end of the half. And it was good for us. And then we kind of did the same thing and put OP in it I think in the third and the fourth some. But it was just something, Sam, that was going well for us. We just kind of stuck with it.
Also, early on, it seemed you really got a noticeable lift energy-wise from Gafford. when Dallas got off to a start. Now he's been in and out of the rotation, but it seems like every time he gets in, that energy perks up that front line quite a bit. What do you see with?
Yeah, I totally agree. Really, there was no reason for him to be out of the rotation against Oklahoma City, other than the fact that I knew Oklahoma City was going to at least have a couple guys that were going to shoot threes, and it was an opportunity to play Lowry some at the 5. I give him a lot of credit for keeping himself ready. I think with Boban, with Willie Cauley-Stein, at times they were a little bit bigger. They played Porzingis some at the 5 tonight. But yeah, I mean, we really needed that from Gaff, and he's done a really good job keeping himself ready. And just the way our team is constructed, there's a lot of depth there that you can. We've played Thad at the 5, we've played Lowry at the 5, we've played Wendell there. You play Gaff. I mean, it's 4 players at the 5 spot that have experienced time there. So sometimes it could be an odd man out a little bit. And Gaff was in the Oklahoma City game, but you know what? I give him a lot of credit for coming, because you're exactly right. He gave us a huge boost to energy and a lot of finishes around the basket that were really, really helpful and impactful to the team.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And last one, Coach, from Christos. Go ahead, Christos.
Hello, Coach. Congratulations on the win. I would like to ask you, when the season starts, did you imagine that you were able to win a game with Kobe and Zach combined 1 for 13 shots on the game? And also, what it means this win about the depth of the roster this season?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of really good guys on the bench and veteran guys on the bench. I give those guys a lot of credit in terms of the role that they've been able to handle and the professionalism and how they've always keep themselves ready. I think it just speaks to the fact that, a lot of times guys, I think, rely on, I need to impact the game by scoring. I have to score for us to win. And it's really not true. And there's other things we can do. I think, Joe mentioned it a little bit earlier with this question, is that, it should be a satisfying game for a lot of those guys, because, they didn't have big scoring nights, and our team played really, really well. I think we had over 30 assists in the game. I think we scored 68 points in the first half. If we play as a team and move the basketball and, generate the best shot for the group, it's going to help. And I've said this before. If Zach is scoring, that's great. If Kobe is scoring, that's great. But if they're not scoring, it doesn't mean we can't win. We have to play the right way, and we've got to play where we make the extra pass, we move the ball finds the open man, and we generate good shots. We don't need to take shots under duress. And I thought tonight we really tried to stay true to that. We did it for a period of time in Oklahoma City, but we didn't sustain it. I thought for the most part, we really tried to sustain it pretty well tonight.
And the quick follow-up is about the response tonight after the tough loss in Oklahoma City. How important is about the mentality and the mindset of this team to respond after a tough loss like this?
Yeah, I've said this before. It's a great group of guys, and they want to learn, they want to get better. And, sometimes these guys have been thrusted into situations where, they're young. I mean, Kobe's in his second year. Wendell's missed a lot of time in his first few years, of the NBA. Larry's young. Like, there's a learning process they have to go through. I always say this with winning. When the talent level evens out, you start to figure out things that you got to do to impact winning. And I think that, hopefully there's more and more of these guys can learn on what really impacts winning, what goes into winning, and how we have to play to win. And sometimes the formula, the recipe is, different for other teams in terms of stylistically. But if you're going to turn the ball over, if you're going to foul, if you're not going to rebound, if we're not going to communicate, we can't get back in transition, we can't guard the ball. I mean, it's hard to win. Offensively, if we're not going to generate good shots, we're going to turn the ball over, we're going to be careless. It's hard to win. And I think that this is a group that, they're really working to get better as a team. And I think I really appreciate every day working with them. And, obviously there's been some painful moments this year, but they're really working. And I think it speaks to their character that, coming out of that game, they didn't hang their head, and they tried to put their best foot forward and tried to improve and make some strides as a team going into this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Billy, that's all we got for you.
Okay. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.